Yes, people. Sorry about that. Apologies, people. Joe's Wi-Fi absolutely locked itself off. Joe's Wi-Fi just went crazy and said, "Nah, I don't want to talk about Pep's exit." It was for all of you in the chat saying, "Hugh, pay your bills, pay your bills." It was Joe's Wi-Fi. Look at me. I'm here now on dead StreamYard. Look. Joe's OBS, Joe's computer went absolutely crazy. So I had to set up a brand new stream on StreamYard, which we don't even pay for premium for because we always use OBS on Discord. But we're back. I couldn't leave you guys hanging. Apologies, people. I know. It's a pain in the ass. Just do me a favor. Hit that like button again, man. Hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. I couldn't leave you hanging on a topic this big, but at least I can share my screen now. Keep getting your thoughts in on this new stream. Pain in the bollocks, man. Pain in the bollocks, but it is what it is. Joe needs to pay his Wi-Fi bills, man. Joe needs to pay his Wi-Fi bills. Let's get back into this conversation about Pep Guardiola. I can't even get back up the super chats that you'd sent in. I don't know, will YouTube give you a refund? Professional Idiot and Piplup. I assume they will because the stream got locked off. It was a Wi-Fi thing, but you know what I mean? If not, you know, I'll try. I know you said tell rivals we're being charitable, which we are. Of course, they're going to get a massive boost from this. But anyway, let's get back to it. Let's forget that mishap. Pep Guardiola expected to leave Man City next summer. How are we feeling about this? Like I said, there was an inevitability to this. And then what was to come next after that? We got this piece here. Where's it gone? City Extra, absolutely on it. Yeah. Man City's managerial succession planning will begin with Girona's Michel talked up as a potential candidate. Julian Nagelsmann has a contract with Germany till 2026, and Xabi Alonso is highly thought of, while Pep Guardiola admires Roberto De Zerbi. I do not want Roberto De Zerbi. I don't want Pep to leave. But I said it to you lot. a couple of weeks ago that we have to get prepared for this. We have to realize the inevitability that Pep Guardiola is going to leave. There's nothing confirmed. There's absolutely nothing confirmed. There's been no formal talks between the club and Pep Guardiola that this is absolutely going to happen. It's just Jack Gaughan. And like I said, we would not be streaming about this if it was not Jack Gaughan. If it was anybody else, any other Tom, Dick, and Harry, I would not stream about this, but because it's Jack Gaughan, and I'm starting to put two and two together pretty quickly. That I think he's going to leave in 2025. I said this to you a few weeks ago, and then he said on the pitch after the West Ham game that he's closer to leaving than he is to staying. And you know what I mean? Now here we are with Jack Gaughan, and it's a really weird time, if you ask me, to drop that piece of news. Why do it during the parade? Why do it during our 4-in-a-row title parade? And I don't know about you lot, but when I was watching that parade, the players didn't seem gassed. The players didn't seem buzzing. I don't know, maybe is it because we won the league last week? I get the feeling it's off the back of the FA Cup loss yesterday. I wonder, do they know something about Pep? Do they know anything about Pep? Has Pep spoken to them? I don't know, but it's a really, really difficult situation. It's a really, really difficult situation for us as fans, because like I said, we're living in this era of absolute dominance, and now we're staring at it right in the face that it's going to come to an end. He said it himself. It's going to come to an end. Players were drunk. Maybe they were. Joe, man, you left me hanging here. Fucking Joe and his dodgy Wi-Fi. I told you it wasn't me, man. It's usually me, but it wasn't me this time. So the fact that Jack Gaughan's also talking about succession plans and what City are going to do after, like I have to stress this I can't stress this to you, sorry, enough, people, that Jack Gaughan would not be tweeting about or not be writing about this and posting about this unless he had some concrete evidence, unless he had some concrete inclination that Pep was going to leave in 2025. He would not be writing about this. And that's where we're at. We have Jack Gaughan, the most reliable. Listen, we were all happy to lap up Jack Gaughan news and information when he was tweeting about Haaland coming to City, or this player coming to Jack Grealish coming to City, or this player coming to City. We're all happy to lap up Jack Gaughan's information. And now that he's writing about something that we don't want, you can't disregard it. You know what I'm saying? You have to be fair on both sides of the coin. You can't just disregard it. So I don't think it's fair to call it fake news, Dark Cold. I don't think it's fair to call it fake news. But it's not news either. Do you know what I mean? News is something that we don't already know. I think we already knew, hand on heart, if we're being honest with ourselves, that it's inevitable that in the short-term future, Pep Guardiola is going to leave. Like I said, it's amazing that we're going to have had 9 seasons of him. And I think we all had a hope that we were going to get to 10. But right now, it's not looking like it's going to be the case. I think the Chargers talk is rubbish. I think the Chargers talk is rubbish and it's lazy. It's lazy observation, and it's and to suggest that Pep is leaving because he knows City aren't going to get off the charges. That's such an agenda-driven statement. It's such an agenda-driven thing to say that Pep will be leaving in 2025 because he knows they're going to be found guilty. It's absolute rubbish. It's absolute rubbish. Why don't you consider maybe the fact that he's been here for 9 years in 2025? Why don't you consider the fact that maybe he's won absolutely everything and shit all over all of your clubs in the process, and he has every single right in the world to say in 2025, after arriving in 2016, that he can leave the club? If Pep wants to lead the club, it will break my heart. It'll break my heart when the news comes out officially. But you have to accept it, and you have to do it gracefully, and you have to let him go with open arms. You have to say you've more than earned the right to leave on your own terms and leave when you decide to call it a day. But the club have to be prepared for it as possible. The club have to be looking at succession plans right now. If they have had quiet words with Pep, and if they are under the illusion, or they are under the perception that Pep is going to leave in 2025, they have to start getting prepared for that situation now. They have to start getting ready for that situation now. It seems like a really shit time to drop that piece of news. The day after you lose an FA Cup final and you're in the middle of your trophy parade, it feels like a really shit time to get a hold of the news that Pep Guardiola is potentially going to leave in 2025. I mean, Jack Gaughan says expected to leave. Expected to leave. That's a big statement from a very credible journalist. That's a very big statement from a very credible journalist. This ain't no ITK, Twitter ITK. This ain't no, Hugh Murray fucking sitting on YouTube on HMTV. That you don't really have to take me seriously. Do you know what I mean? If I tell you Pep's leaving or Pep signed a 10-year contract, you're not going to take me seriously. This is Jack Gaughan. This is an official mouthpiece for the club. This is serious shit, and it's not the same every year, Abu. It's not the same every year. I said this before the stream died, that it feels different this time. It feels really different this time. And why does it feel different? Because on the build-up to his previous contract extensions, it was always City are very confident, or there's a lot of belief within the club that Pep's going to sign a new contract. Whereas this time, you've Tiki talking about leaving himself. You've Pep talking about being closer to the end than he is to the beginning. And then you have Jack Gaughan saying he's expected to leave in 2025. Nothing like this came out when Pep previously signed new contracts. Nothing like this ever came out when Pep Guardiola signed new contracts. So that's why I'm getting this ominous feeling that maybe it is going to be 2025. Maybe it is going to be 2025. It's going to be a massive shock. It's going to be a massive shock to the system. I don't mean like we're all going to go, whoa, weren't expecting that. But it's going to be a massive shock to the system when it officially resonates with you in your stomach and in your head that Pep is going to leave in 2025. So the club will, because there's PR involved in this, they will absolutely slowly try to drip feed this information. Martin Blackburn also been on it. Is that true, Briggsy? Martin Blackburn. Those close to Pep believe he will leave Man City at the end of the 2024-2025 season and the conclusion of the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. Martin Blackburn, another very reliable source. So those who are close to Pep believe at the end of next season he's going to leave. People, I hate to break it to you, but we're looking at bad news right in the face. As of right now, unless something drastic changes between now and the end of next season, we're looking at bad news right in the face. We're staring at Grim Reaper. Do you know what I'm saying? Grim Reaper's right in front of us, about to deliver some bad news to us. Like Jack Gaughan's report says, though, there's nothing confirmed, nothing formal, nothing official. So the club still are in a position where they can persuade Pep to stay. They're still in a position where they can make whatever effort that they possibly can to get Pep to stay. But as of right now, what we have to work with right now, we're staring bad news in the face. And I know a lot of you are in denial. I know you are. And my natural instinct is to be in denial. But because I'm sitting here and I'm chatting away to you guys, I don't want to fill you guys with rubbish and tell you guys, disregard this, disregard that. It's absolute bullshit. Don't listen to Jack Gaughan. Listen to Jack Gaughan. I'm telling you, unfortunately, you got to listen to Jack Gaughan. You got to listen to Martin Blackburn. You got to listen to Tiki. You got to listen to Pep. I'm sorry, that's just where we're at. We're staring at bad news in the face. We're staring at bad news in the face for ourselves. But it's not an angry bad news. It's like we knew this was coming. We knew this was coming. Big up Matthew Hoyle, man. Big up Matthew Hoyle for becoming a channel member. I know Mancunian Way also became a channel member. I don't know did that go through because the stream locked off. I don't know did any of your super chats in the previous stream even go through properly because the stream locked off because of Joe's Wi-Fi. But big up Matthew Hoyle for becoming a channel member, man. Anybody else wants to become a channel member and help support us over here making content every day, there's a link down below. There should be a join button down below. Big up to you, Matthew Hoyle, man. Professional idiot, I see you in the chat, man. I don't know did your super chat come in the first time. I'm not in denial because I'm not in denial. I'm not in denial because I'm not in denial. Okay. Okay. I get it. You can't be in denial if you say you're not in denial. It's bad news, 3-2-1, because we don't want Pep to leave, do we? None of us want Pep Guardiola to leave. He's the greatest manager our club has ever and will ever see. He's the greatest manager, in my opinion, that English football will ever see. That's where we're at. I think he's the greatest manager English football will ever see. You talk about Alex Ferguson's first 5 to 7 years. A large part of that, the United fans wanted him out. They said, get rid of Fergie. It took Fergie quite a few years before he won his first league title. Pep, in his first 8 years, has won 6 league titles, a treble, 100 points, domestic clean sweep. 4 in a row, 2, 3, 4 in a row. Like, I think he's the greatest manager that the English football will ever see. And that's why it's bad news. You don't want to lose that guy. It's change. It's definitely change. But it's bad news because none of us want to see Pep Guardiola leave, do we? I trust the club. I trust the club that whatever we do next will be the right move. But as I said to you guys a couple streams ago, I do fear, not massively, but I am realistic enough to know that when the Pep Guardiola era comes to an end, we may see massive change in the club. We may see massive change in the club. Tiki and Pep, there was always a good chance they were going to leave at the same time, and there still is a good chance they're going to leave at the same time. More might say the same. More board members, more executives may say, look, Pep and Tiki are about leaving. We've achieved so much since the 2008 takeover or whenever so-and-so came in. Maybe it's time for us to leave. You could see the landscape of Manchester City Football Club change. You could see the landscape of Manchester City Football Club change. Now, that's obviously an extreme scenario, an extreme situation, but it's not out of the realms of possibility when you're talking about a manager as influential and as powerful as Pep Guardiola. Big up a Gert member for 1 month, says 10 Baldy did say era's come to an end. Well, listen, 10 Baldy, we don't know if he's going to be here next season. We don't know if Ten Hag's going to be here next season, but we know Pep is. We've got 1 more year of Pep. So, Arsenal fans may want to relax. You've got 1 more year to deal with Pep at the very least. But it's not done. It's not done. Confirmed anyway. He may extend. The club may speak to him and say, look, maybe reconsider. If you are planning on leaving, maybe reconsider because, like I've said to you people, there's a massive avenue for Pep Guardiola to absolutely dominate for many, many more years. For many, many more years if he wants. I don't look at the rest of the competition and go, you really scare me, or you would really scare Pep Guardiola. If Pep was able to deal with Klopp, with all due respect to Klopp, genuinely, I think he's a good manager, a great manager, without all the banter aside. If Pep was able to deal with Klopp and those title races year in, year out for as long as he did, there's no managers in the league right now who are going to scare him. And most of the managers in European football right now are all up-and-comers. They're all up-and-comers. There's not many big dog pedigree managers remaining in the game. You have Pep, you have Carlo, you have, I don't know, do Tuchel and Poch even count as big dog pedigree managers? Who are the big managers that are currently in the game? I know Zidane's not employed, but who's in the game that's gonna make Pep Guardiola feel, oh, you're gonna dethrone me? You're going to give me people up. I'm not sure. Did your super chat come through? Just type it in the normal chat. You don't have to super chat again. Just type in the normal chat and read it out. Whatever you said. Big Sam, Jose. No, Jose's not going to scare Pep at this stage. Jose's finished, man. Jose's washed at this point. Simeone, maybe. But look, even Inzaghi's good. Yeah, look, there's good managers out there. I don't deny that. But on a domestic front, anyway, I'm sorry, there's no manager in the league is going to really give Pep nightmares. Yes, Arteta gave Pep a good push twice. Arteta gave him a good nudge and said, you're going to have to work for these 2 leagues. But there's no one's really going to clash with Pep and make a Pep versus era. a Pep versus era of 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So if Pep extends for another 2, 3 years, he could win. He could win whatever. It's there for Pep. It just depends how much he wants it. People said, I hope we don't get that hipster bum. I don't want De Zerbi. I don't want De Zerbi. And it's kind of worrying me the way Pep, there's Jack Gaughan saying that Pep is a massive admirer of Roberto De Zerbi. I don't want De Zerbi. I'm sorry. I don't want him. Look, if the club want him and the club go and get him and he turns out to be the next Manchester City manager, I'll back him. Of course I'll back him. If he's the Manchester City manager, of course I'll back him. But he's not for me. He's not for me, Roberto De Zerbi. I don't like his one-dimensional, lack of plan B, reckless football. You know what I'm saying? Playing a high line when a 3-0 down and front-footed, high-pressing football. It's not for me. It's not for me right now. That's my dream. That's my dream. Carlo Ancelotti. That would be my dream. And he would be the perfect Pep Guardiola replacement. A big dog pedigree manager. Come in, steady the ship. Do you know what I'm saying? Whatever transition needs to happen, it's nothing new for Carlo. Carlo could handle it. He's the only man that could come in, step into Pep's boots and not feel uncomfortable. Because whoever comes to Manchester City after 2025 if Pep leaves and steps into Pep's boots is going to feel uncomfortable, is going to feel a massive weight of responsibility to continue whatever we've been doing. Now, I know, of course, we're going to have to accept as a fan base, the reality is that we're going to have to give whoever it is that comes in time. We're going to have to give whoever it is that comes in time, because the reality of next man coming in and getting 100 points or getting a league title even, it's a massive expectation on whoever that may be. So you're going to have to give whoever it is time. But I feel Carlo Ancelotti, it's not going to happen, by the way, people. It's not going to happen. But I feel he could handle that. I feel Carlo could handle that. I'd like Xabi Alonso. I would like Xabi Alonso, but I feel like he's got Real Madrid written all over him, doesn't he? I feel like he's got Real Madrid written all over him. I like Inzaghi as well. I do like Inzaghi. He's another one of these kind of up-and-comers, I suppose. It's not a nice situation to be in. I mean, I want some sort of confirmation. I would love some sort of confirmation. I'd love to be told, yeah, look, he is leaving. Get yourself prepared for it. You know, we're going to work on it over the next 12 months as to what the succession plan is. Or else I'd like he's extending or he's staying or we're confident. It's just today's news is it's not a nice feeling. It's not a nice feeling to read that. And like I said, I'm a realist. And my realist side of my brain is telling me that we're probably looking at the end. I personally want Michel. I don't know much about that Michel guy. I know he's done a very stellar job at Girona. Other than that, you guys would have to fill me in on Michel. I don't know much about him. Yeah, look, that's where we're at. I wonder, can I get anybody to join the stream and have a chat about this? When was LB around? Anyone know, has LB been live today? Briggsy, do you want to jump on, Briggsy? I see you in the chat. Do you want to jump on, Briggsy? I have a chat about the Pep situation. I don't want to leave it here. I want to keep talking about it. Do you know what I'm saying? Briggsy, say yes or no in the chat and I'll send you the link. I don't want to think about replacements, man. I don't want to think about replacements because he's not gone yet. All right, Briggsy, I'll send you the link now. Man. On Twitter, Briggsy. I'll send it to you on Twitter. Where is he? Briggsy. There we go. All right, Briggsy, I've sent you the link. Let's get Briggsy on. Hit the like button, people, man. Hit the like button and subscribe if you're new around here and become a channel member if you want. Big up 321. Good to see you, 321, man. Appreciate the super chat. Club are sorted. Succession plan for it. No worries. I hope that's the case, man. I hope that's the case. Here he is. Yes, Briggsy, lad, you good?
Yes, mate. How you doing?
How are you feeling after yesterday, I suppose, first of all, before we talk about Pep?
Yeah, well, what do you call it? Just have my camera out. That's better. Well, the match was a bit horrible. I didn't feel there was enough pride in that performance. I'm still good by it. Me and Jack Lee supposed to be going parade today, but we just thought, based off that performance, it's still hitting in our stomachs just to even think about to have a celebration. Don't get me wrong, 4 in a row is nice, mate, but it's just that derby final performance that's left a sour taste in our mouths.
Where do you think we went wrong?
Not enough energy, not enough desire, fight, commitment. Even when you go 1-0 down, I said to Jack, and I said it to Padda when I was with him at Fulham, they should be fighting. They should, like, second half, take it to 0-0 if that was the case. And they've got the fans behind them attacking our goal, but we just left it, like, didn't go, when we went 1-0 down, we were just like, no commitment, no desire to get back into the game until Jeremy came on. Jeremy Doku, outstanding player, made a massive difference, but I don't know why it takes a substitution to get 9 outfield players fired up to go. Doku was outstanding. The rest, nah, sadly not for me yesterday.
I think that's why I felt a bit weird for the parade today, didn't it? I think you could tell the players. I don't know, did you watch the parade online? But the players definitely felt a bit flat. Definitely felt a bit hit by the loss yesterday, and a number of them referenced it. A number of them referenced it, said they were disappointed with yesterday, and so did Pep. That's why he said he wants to win it next year. But you've seen the news. We're speaking about it. Jack gone. Pep expect Man City to leave, or Man City expect Pep to leave next summer. How do you feel about it?
Yes, just 1 sec, sorry, Hugh. Guys in the chat, could you just do us all a favour? Please hit the likes because of that technical difficulty with Joe. Please get the numbers back up. It's massive support to the channel. But based on the Pep Guardiola situation, it's very odd just to announce it the day after the Derby final loss, mid parade, and it's like kicking a man while he's down, just to announce that during the parade and 24 hours after the Derby. Doesn't make sense to do that announcement now. I know it's only just like speculation, but it's very, very odd timing, if you get me, mate. I don't know what you think.
That's what I'm saying, man. It is odd timing. I don't know why Jack Gaughan chose to drop this article, to release this article mid parade. The day after we lost the cup final, as you said, when people kind of have mixed emotions. I know for a fact that, and I give credit to everybody that went to that parade because they're there to support and to appreciate what we've done, and what we've done was amazing this season. But you're only human, you'd be disappointed after losing a derby final yesterday, and then to be kind of kicked in the teeth with that sort of news. Do you think there's any room for this to be sort of turned around and for us to maybe get some good news over the course of the next few months? Like Jack Lee said, and I said, and I think Joe agrees, that I'd be looking at before Christmas. I think up to Christmas, you kind of have to get some sort of movement on this. And if you can't by then, you really are kind of gonna have to accept the bad news.
Yeah, that's what I've just said to Jack then in Discord in private. I said, if you think back to, I know the World Cup break was on them, but Pep Guardiola signed that extension World Cup break. So if you could do something similar in the international breaks, October or November, then it's game on again, isn't it? To think you could get to that 10-year mark. But if it gets past Christmas and New Year, I'm sorry to say, Pep's packing his bags, and we've all got to say it is what it is. Thank you for your service. Absolutely unbelievable service, and it's time to get the next player. Not next player, next manager in, because whoever comes in, it's going to be like Fergie to Moyes, Klopp to Arne Slot. Whoever comes in, like you've just said there before I jumped on the stream, it's absolutely ridiculous pressure to come in, replace Fergie, replace Klopp, replace Pep Guardiola. It's going to be absolutely unreal. And I'm not going to go full happy clapper mode, but I am expecting a drop off. Not going to win league titles in a row. We're not going to be getting to Champions League semi-finals year after year. It's going to be, we've just got to ride the storm when it's difficult.
That's the bit that I think people are going to struggle to deal with. I know you go to enough games and you're involved in the club enough to know that we're a very solid fan base, and the majority of the fan base that have been around for a long time, like ourselves, will be there regardless. But there'll be a lot of people will struggle with the fact that we're not winning every week and we're not getting trophies, season in, season out. And I'm just saying that's something we're going to have to come to expect. I mean, how do you think the club should deal with the exit of Pep Guardiola in terms of replacing him, of course, which is the big one, replacing the personality of Pep Guardiola? the landscape of the club, and I'm talking about Tiki and board members. Tiki, we know for sure, is going to leave. Potentially other board members may say the exit of Tiki and Pep might be the right time for them to go. Is it a slow process, or is it something that can be fixed quickly, and a hole that can be fixed quickly to stop the club going into a real demise? Like, I don't believe it will happen, but God help us if we ended up like with a drop off like Man United since Ferguson left.
Yeah, that's the thing, lad. It's 50-50. Look, fortunately, we've got people in power that know what they're doing. Whereas down at Old Trafford, it's like a shit show off the pitch. They don't have any idea. They don't have structure. And what you've got to think of is, if we know it's Pep Guardiola's beginning of the end era, and same with Tiki and Ferran Soriano and a few others, then they might start looking who's our replacement's going to be in our roles. Each individual specific role, CEO, transfer recruiter, all sorts. They're going to know who's coming in to replace each specific duty. And then if that's the case, I think, yeah, it's going to be not the same, but it won't be as deep as a drop off to what United have gone through the last 10 years. We might just be like top 4, top 5 if they get the right people in to recruit every single person in their jobs. So hopefully, if that's the case, which I know our club's very good at recruiting, whether it's a player or manager or even boardroom level, then we should be fine. Just to say the drop off ain't going to be that deep.
We just have to trust the club, don't we? And we make it clear all the time that, I mean, other than the Super League people, other than the Super League debacle, the club haven't put a foot wrong that we're aware of. Every single decision they've made, every single, I don't know, process or plan they underwent turned out to be successful, turned out to be the right move with the club's best interest at heart. Other than the Super League, like I said, the Super League was a fucking shit show, shambles, but we'll let that slide because they barely put a foot wrong otherwise. So we just have to trust the club that when Pep leaves and if somebody else leaves or there's a domino effect, the decisions they make will be with the club's best interest at heart. That's just you just have to trust those people. I mean, James, it's not really gossip. It's more from a concrete journalist. I mean, you know yourself, Briggsy. Jack Gaughan and Martin Blackburn too. They're very reliable journalists in this space. I made it clear, people, I would not stream about this if it was not from a reliable source. If this was from some randomer, with ITK in his name on Twitter, or some fella claiming with 20,000 followers claiming he knows what's going on, I'd say, look, this is just agenda-driven stuff. But we're talking about very reliable journalists here. We're talking about people who know their stuff, who are connected to the club. So you kind of have to talk about it. It's a conversation that has to be had when Jack Gaughan speaks about it, isn't it?
Well, what's the alternative, mate? Because are you going to expect Pep Guardiola to leave, and then you're thinking, shit, he's gone. Where do we go from here? Now, if it's just the speculation, people can psychologically prepare themselves. It's like if you're going for a surgery and you think, shit, what's to come after the surgery, or like recovery, physiotherapy, all that sort of stuff. If you know what's coming, then you can prepare yourself. But if you just go into the operation that morning, you just think, shit, what am I in for? Post surgery. So it's good that we know now what's coming next, whether it's going to be a Xabi Alonso, Xabi Hernandez, daft as it sounds, De Zerbi, Angelotti, whoever it may be. If we know now Pep's going, the plans could be in place and the wheels are in motion to say who's coming in. I don't know what you think, Hugh.
For who's coming in?
Yeah, in terms of if you could throw names in the ring.
Like I said, my dream would be Carlo Ancelotti. My dream would absolutely be Carlo Ancelotti. I like Alonso. I do like Xabi Alonso a lot. I think Inzaghi's good, but no one's gonna hit like Pep. Do you know what I mean? No one's gonna be Pep Guardiola. It's the way Pep connected with the club, embodied the ethos of Manchester City Football Club, and the city of Manchester itself. Like, he truly fell in love with the place. You're going to really struggle to find anybody else to do that. I mean, I'll have a look at some of these super chats, then we'll talk about maybe who we might like. But I know 3-2-1 by by the way, with your super chat. Like I said, I just have to trust the club. We always have to trust the club. Big up Professional Idiot for the 10 gifted memberships. the king of the members, man. The king of the members. By the way, people, Briggsy here, if you don't know him, he's the first ever channel member. Briggsy was the first ever channel member here on HMTV. He's a good friend of mine as well. So big up the professional idiot, always looking after the chat, man. It's a prestigious club for prestigious people. And he goes on to say, that's so Joe can pay his internet bill. I'm going to have to give that cash to Joe. I'm going to have to give that cash to Joe because the fucker's got dodgy Wi-Fi. He's not paying his Wi-Fi bills, or else he's stealing Wi-Fi off McDonald's. And that's why the stream got shut down.
Page.
Hey?
Set him up a GoFundMe page. Everyone donate.
I don't think he needs that, to be fair. He's got one of the fanciest PCs I've ever seen in my life, but it doesn't have the Wi-Fi to match it. Big up to you, Professional Idiot. Everybody, if any of you were gifted a membership off Professional Idiot, make sure you go on to thank him. Luke, I see you in the chat, man. Do you want to jump on? If I send you the link on Twitter, do you want to jump on and have a say about this conversation? Just say yes or no in the chat, and I can send you the link as well. But big up to you, Professional Idiot. Guys, make sure you thank Professional Idiot if you're lucky enough to be gifted a membership. Benji Yang with the £5. Big up, Benji Yang. Says, Pep left Barca and Bayern. They both went on to win a Champions League. Pep left Barca and Bayern. They both went on to lift Champions League and their leagues, respectively. Khaldoon knows what to do and prepare Inzaghi, City till I die. Inzaghi. Who would you like? Well, I send Luke the link here, Briggsy. Who would you like to come in?
This is actually interesting because I don't mind Inzaghi. I think he'd be good, just based on track record of getting into finals. I know Italy's not the same as England, but Inzaghi is a good shout. I mean, I said to Jack Lee at the time when Klopp announced his Liverpool exit, I said, could you imagine going from Klopp to Inzaghi? The drop off won't be that deep as well, because he's always competing. As long as you're competing for domestic trophies and being in like top 4 title races, then Inzaghi's not a bad shout, to be fair.
Inzaghi's not a bad shout. I do like Inzaghi. People say Naglesmann in the chat. Do you rate Naglesmann?
Oh, no. I think he's more like a De Zerbi, but for like in Germany, really. He'll make you progress, but will he keep up the demands of like competing in title races? I don't know.
Yeah. Here's Luke now. Here's Luke. Gonna get Luke in. Big up, Luke, man. Good to see you, bro. How are you?
Yeah,
all good. Obviously, yesterday, don't remind me, but yeah, other than that, it's all good. How are you, lads? Having a good bank holiday?
Having an all right one until I saw the news. I was semi enjoying the parade, and then I saw the news from Jack Gaughan. We're all just kind of trying to digest the news, and a lot of people are, I suppose, just brushing it off and saying it's bullshit, it's not true, even though Jack Gaughan is the most reliable that you're going to get.
Yeah, it's just about it.
Yeah, I mean, where are you at with it, bro?
At the end of the day, I've just done a video about it on TikTok, kind of just saying, look, like, we all knew it was coming. You know, it's one of those things we can't have it these days where it's like a Fergie for 26 years, where as much as we'd love it for him to stay that long and create an absolute dynasty where no one touches it, we all knew sooner or later he was going to go. I think we've had more years than we expected, really.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, when he signed in 2016, it was what, a 5-year contract. We all thought maybe he goes after that, does 4 or 5 years. That was his notoriety, kind of with Barca. He did 3 or 4 years. Bayern Munich, again, only did a couple of years. And then City has been his longest kind of reign at a club. So we've got longer than we all probably expected out of him. That's what I will say. And if he is to go, fair play. He's created memories that we will all live with for the rest of our lives. If he's to stay, it'll boil a lot more piss. But we'll just wait and see. I think behind the scenes, they'll be doing all they can to keep him. But for me, the biggest thing I think of whether he stays or not is how players react next season.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, the Klopp news, you can kind of relate both of them because they're two gargantuan managers leaving their clubs. Was abrupt. You know what I mean? It came out of nowhere. A lot of people were talking about how would this affect Liverpool towards the end of the season. If Pep is to leave, what do you think is the best way to go about it? You know, people talk about exit plans for the Premier League in this 115 case. What's City's exit plan with Pep Guardiola? How do you let the fans and the rest of the football world know softly that the Pep's going to leave, man?
I don't think you do it like Klopp.
No,
I don't think you do it halfway through the season and then you kind of. That's where I think they've gone wrong. They've rode on this kind of energy for so long, in the last few games, and then it's just kind of plated out. You've seen kind of obviously more Salah's incidents, what like on the bench, well, being subbed on, little things like that come into play, kind of mentality of players. But for me, no matter what happens, there is no way of doing it well. I think obviously if you leave it till the end of the season, everyone's going to be like, right, why have you left it now? Who's going to come in and replace him? We might not have much time. Obviously, we all know from kind of past appointments that City tend to do it very well. Obviously, we have had our own little issue in that regard where Pellegrini was manager. They announced a few months before the end of the season, Pep Guardiola is coming in. So we've done it. We've been there and done it, and kind of whether some players down tools or not, we don't know. But for me, I think you kind of just have to let it do it naturally, kind of let Pep, when he's ready, say, right, this is it, sit down. But yeah, no matter when it happens, there's always going to be a negativity around it. So that's the main thing really for me. Just whenever the club are ready.
Luke, got a question for you.
Go on.
Do you reckon this summer there'll be talks in the boardroom that it's not only going to be players that are going to be mentioned, there's going to be managers as well that could be mentioned this summer for the 2025 replacement of Pep?
Oh, absolutely. I think this club are very good at, especially Shiki and Ferran Soriano. They're very good at kind of getting things done quickly and kind of progressing for the long term. Obviously, I think they had Pep in place well before Pellegrini's appointment, even in towards 2016. I think they obviously knew Bayern Munich, well, the club themselves, that's why they've put these people in place. Shiki, Ferran, these were all ex-Barcelona people. They've kind of been brought in before even Pep Guardiola to kind of have this smooth adjustment for when he comes in. Obviously, these two, there's rumours that Shiki might be going as well when Pep decides to go, whether that's true or not. But for me, I think the club are very well set for. They'll be having discussions like I've seen City Extra already posting earlier today. The succession will begin. Kind of the names that are being mentioned are quite interesting. Head owners Michel, Julian Nagelsmann, Xavi Alonso, which obviously everyone's going to start picking his name out of a hat, not just for us, but Real Madrid, Bayern, in future. And then Roberto De Zerbi, which we all know Pep is a great admirer of too. So they'll be looking at it. They'll be looking at where managers are going this season, especially as well, and kind of looking at how they get on. But again, it's just another rumour mill that we're going to have to deal with throughout the whole season, I think.
I think we were always going to have to deal with this topic. We were always going to have to deal
Absolutely.
with this topic like heavily, like until the day that Pep officially announces either extension or exit, literally extension or exit. We're going to get an influx growing by the week. Journalists saying this, journalists saying that. The only reason that I'm talking about it today is because it's Jack Gaughan. The only reason I'm talking about it today is because it's the most concrete of them all. But look, something we always brag about and we're always very proud of is the fact that I believe we have the best infrastructure in world football. I believe we have the best people in world football running our football club, because you simply don't hit the heights and become the powerhouse that we are without, really, really intelligent people in both a footballing sense and a business sense controlling your club. So it's now more than ever is the time we have to put our faith into those people and trust them that they will put the club into safe hands, whether that means a managerial appointment, the success of Pep Guardiola, or whether it means themselves stepping down like a Tiki or a Ferran or Khaldoon even got, I hope it doesn't happen type of thing, but that these people will put the club into safe hands. You have to trust that. I
think you mentioning Khaldoon's name there as well, for example, he is literally the only director or like CEO that I have. Well, he's not CEO, he's higher than that, isn't he? He's chairman. He is the only chairman that I have ever seen throughout watching football who will sit down on a yearly basis about his club, and that just goes to show how much passion he has for this club ever since he stepped through the door. So I think he would be the last to go. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, there's going to be a time when he goes as well. But I think because of how much he loves this club as well, he will never want to see it kind of go down the heights of what that Chelsea have done recently. Potentially Liverpool are going to do next season with Arne Slot. We don't know. He could come in and hit the ground running, which, we don't know till it happens. Obviously, Arsenal, don't even want to speak about them. But Yeah, I think there's so many people who are kind of linked to this club that just wouldn't want to see it go down that route, that they'll already be planning for everything anyway.
That gives me a lot of comfort. That gives me a lot of comfort, and it's spot on. Like, you see how much effort, blood, sweat, and tears people like specifically Calduna put into building the club to what it is. That I'm pretty confident that they'll leave it in the right hands, or continue to build on what it is right now, and so on and so forth. But I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to be optimistic and hopeful about it. What do the club have to do, Briggsy, if there is any room to keep him? Like I've made it clear that I really believe, and I want both of you to chime in on this. I really believe that if they can convince Pep to stay, there's an avenue more than ever to continue success, to sustain success. I really don't look at anybody and go, "You're really gonna, ruffle our feathers. You're really gonna." Like, I'm not saying we're gonna win the Premier League every single year, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you'd fancy us with Pep Guardiola. I mean, Briggsy, what did the club have to do?
It's like I said it in your chat earlier before the stream died. I said, can you imagine Jurgen Klopp's leaving now? Well, he's already left. But then 12 months later, Pep Guardiola walks out the door as well. You've lost two of the great managers in this current era in the space of 12 months. The Premier League will be on its ass, because the difference with when Fergie left and Wenger, there was a 5-year gap. So at least the two legendary managers in that era, one was still there, even though Wenger wasn't the same. But now, if Pep's going to go 12 months later after Klopp, like you said, the next person that could win a Premier League is the king of the training cones, which is Mikel Arteta. Which you just think it's like, wow, Mikel Arteta. Surely Man City are going to have to get someone big, somebody that's got experience. I don't think Xabi Alonso, for me, I'm going to be honest, he might have done quality this season, but he needs to do that again next season. Not exactly go unbeaten in all trophies, but he needs to establish himself as a top manager by Leverkusen, or move on to maybe a Bayern, well, not a Bayern Munich, maybe
Well,
go on, Luke.
The rogue shout for me was going to be, see how Kompany does this next season. As much I have said it, I do not want him anywhere near this club if he can't prove himself, because that will be the worst thing that could happen. But he's got a free hit at Bayern, hasn't he? They've came third in the Bundesliga, not won the DFB Pokal, lost to a third tier
no
side.
managers available, mate. That's the thing. The manager
there isn't, is there? There's no kind of managers that you see out there and you go, that's who I want. Obviously, De Zerbi is potentially the closest likeness you could have to Pep. But again, can he come in and prove his style? Obviously, his style of play is based on Pep, but can he come in and prove that it'd be a rogue shout, but, it's like when Barcelona took the chance on Pep Guardiola coming from the B team to the A team. Obviously, he was an ex-player, mentored under Cruyff. This could now be the kind of changing of the guard. It could be Pep Guardiola's mentored, potentially De Zerbi, and it goes from there. But, you just, whoever it is anyway, I have full faith that, we'll still be in and amongst the title races. You'll have all the football Twitter people saying, I want to win the league straight away. But we all know, fucking hell, 20 years ago, if we'd have been told that we were going to have the success that we've had, I'd have been saying you were smoking something. But it's one of those, isn't it?
But
It's interesting.
Just to go back on my point, sorry, it's like to keep up this winning mentality, I want someone to come in that's won trophies rather than that's unproven, but they're progressing like a De Zerbi or Xabi Alonso. I want someone to continue the foundations of being in a title challenge, continue to be Champions League semi-finals for us rather than go to a top 4, top 5 level. Because if you drop off that deep, then we might end up having to become like an Arsenal towards the end of the Wenger era, or Chelsea now.
The Kompany one is it's a really interesting one, because I'm sure you both know Pep is adamant that Kompany will manage Manchester City. Like, Pep himself is absolutely hell-bent certain that Vincent Kompany will manage Manchester City. And I just wonder, have they spoke? Have the club ever said to Kompany, listen, go and get your badges and you become the manager? But I'm so apprehensive about Kompany ever managing Manchester City, because I don't want anything to tarnish And people will always say, "Oh, nothing will tarnish your legacy. Nothing will tarnish." I don't want any bad vibes around Kompany. That if it was to go,
the biggest example of that I could ever give is Frank Lampard.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me so much of that. Obviously, Kompany has got his head screwed on probably a lot more than Frank, but Frank tried to do it the right way by going to Derby County, getting them to the playoffs, then obviously going to Chelsea. He's tried to do it that way, but then just imploded on himself with the Everton job, then going back to Chelsea on caretaker basis. Now he's out of a job, I think. I don't even know where he is. I just don't want that to happen to Kompany and just be completely ruined by the expectation. Obviously, City fans, new and old, will kind of be like, right, we'll give him a chance. We'll get behind him. But I think City, especially newer fans, are very kind of cutthroat, and they'll be like, right, we want success now. But then you'll have the old guard being like, no, just give him time. But I feel like in this industry, there's only so long you can have time for before where you're like, yeah, we need results here, but it would be so horrible just to kind of ruin his whole legacy. And I don't think it would massively, but obviously, at the end of the day, he's still got a statue outside the ground for a reason. But yeah, it's a double-edged sword, really, for me. If he does well,
the dream would be he comes in and he bangs. He bangs.
That's what we all want. But football is a very unpredictable game, so I wouldn't want to say he'll come in and smash it, but we'll see how he does at Bayern. Like I said, I think
it's
that's
not based on time, though, is it?
You what? Sorry,
it's not based on time, though, is it? Like managers, because we're all in the same age category. Like when it was called Barclays Premier League, owners would give managers time, how long they wanted, 3
well,
to
fucking
5
hell,
years.
look at Arsenal with Wenger for how many years?
I
think that was more because they couldn't get anyone else, and he cemented his legacy much before that. And then he just kind of became like a dinosaur in regards to football, wouldn't progress it, was happy to sell on players and not reinvest. Well, not him, but the club, Kroenke and stuff. But yeah, who knows? We could even try and get Arteta. That'd boil a lot of piss.
Would you have him? Would you like to have him?
Fuck off, no. Not in a million years, obviously.
King of the training cones, isn't he?
Yeah, but just there's an arrogance to Pep, which comes across to other fans, can't stand him. The arrogance comes across to us as, supporting the club. But with Arteta, there's just something about him. It kind of seems like it's not
defeat, is he?
Yeah, and it's not for the club, it's about him. It seems like it's a lot more, oh, well, if we lose, I don't care about the club, it looks bad on me, so I'm going to go back at people. He can't accept that he's not perfect. Kind of thing.
Yeah. Finding the right fit for Pep's successor it's an almost impossible task. Do you know what I mean? It's an almost impossible task, and we're just gonna have to ride the wave.
But this is the thing, though. With finding Pep's successor, picking an example out of random, United. Look how many play styles they've gone through since Ferguson. They've not kept the same play style since Ferguson. They've been like counter-attacking. They've been possession, counter-attacking. They're up and down. We need to find the same or similar play styles Pep Guardiola to continue the level of success. Well,
but I think Pep will have a massive say in who gets appointed as well.
I agree.
I don't think he will I think a part of it may play on the fact that if he's to extend, he goes, right, well, in 2 years' time, let's say he extends for another 2 years, seasons after this one, he says, right, well, I'll extend, but my replacement is going to be X or Y. Or if he does leave this season, it'll be like, right, I'm leaving, but I will, throughout this whole process, try and find the replacement. Or be in the background to say, this is how it's going to go. Because I think he has the biggest pulling power within this club, in my opinion, especially transfers and things like that. A lot of players come because of him.
Well, that's why my dream is that if Pep is to call it a day at City, is that he goes to New York and he stays in the CFG. Do you know what I mean? He stays within the organization. He's still there to help on hand. He's still communicating with the people within our football club. Like, the club need to make a massive effort to preserve Pep's DNA within the club. Like, you see the way the whole academy system is all playing that Johan Cruyff, Pep Guardiola type way, and that's why they look so comfortable when they get to the first team. They need to preserve that, because the biggest issue we could possibly have when Pep leaves is that the culture of the club changes. The culture of the club changes because the culture at the club right now is so perfect. There's such a good relationship between fans and players. Everybody's kind of pulling in the same direction. Everyone's on the same wavelength. We don't want a massive culture shock or a culture change and people get unhappy with this and someone's unhappy with that. So your Khaldoons of this world, these kind of people need to preserve the culture of Pep Guardiola if they can't keep him. I don't know how you go about that, Briggsy, but it's something they're going to have to do, in my opinion.
It's like I say, though, it's like just picking out of random again. United, how many play styles have they been through since Fergie? Whereas if you keep Pep in the CFG, let him have a holiday, let him have a break, but it's obviously he's still working for the CFG group at the same time. Jack said it to me yesterday when we was on the way down to Wembley. What if you got a De Zerbi or Xabi Alonso or even Carlo Ancelotti for 2-3 years, and then if it was Ancelotti, when he's ready to say, I want to retire, could you sway Pep Guardiola back to the Etihad for like a long-term vision?
Nah, Pep. I think Pep is very reluctant. Once he's done, he's done. He doesn't go back.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He's already said it about Barcelona. He couldn't go back, and I think the only other way you would ever see Pep come back in. Yeah, and I think the only other way you would see Pep, like Q said there, if you were to get him to New York, keep him in the CFG, and then years down the line go, right, you don't want to manage anymore. How about you come in as what Shicky did, director of football? You know the club inside out. This is your new position. But I think for me, I don't think Pep is very reluctant to go back into club management. I think his projects now, he's done everything in world football in terms of club management. I think the thing he would be looking for is international. And I think that's his probably side project now after Man City, maybe. I'd be buzzing if he became England manager, but we all know that'd be a double-edged sword if he fucks up at England, and then we're all like, oh, well. But we'll see.
Imagine this. Sorry, Hugh, but I've got to put this to Luke. Right. We know Ten Hag should be leaving, right? Imagine Gareth Southgate goes to Man United. That's one tick, innit? But then Pep Guardiola leaves next year for England. Tell me that is a dream. Southgate to United and Pep to England.
It's a big dream, but
it's realistic at the minute.
I think he'll leave England. I think he'll leave the country altogether. And his daughter lives in New York. I think his missus is back in Barcelona. I could see him wanting to go and live in the sun or a slightly more relaxed life.
If he goes to New York, then fair play to him. It could be kind of his, swan song where he's like, right, we've done everything in English football in the biggest league in the world. I've now got this project in America to kind of develop football here. Obviously, in the US especially, you have vast resources in terms of financial. You have kind of a lot of people who are now trying to want to develop football in America, especially over the last 20, 30 years. They've been trying to really push what they call soccer, unfortunately. Over there, there's a strong core of players over there as well now, but it seems to be more like a retirement league than anything at the minute for big paychecks. But Pep could go over there and be like, right, I want to progress this league a bit more, and NYCFC would be the perfect opportunity for that. But again, we're all talking about this, but we can't really say much more. Then we'll see.
Well, that's where we're at. I suppose it's a good way to conclude the stream. We'll see. Look, if there's any one football club in the world and any one board in the world that could potentially pull off getting him to extend and persuading him and talking to him, more money, more resources, whatever you need, mate, it's Manchester City. So I've not lost all hope. I am feeling a bit ominous about it, but I've not lost all hope. Big up Professional Idiot with another super chat says, I think Nagelsmann or Hansi Flick will be the best options. They both won trophies at Bayern and have at least gotten to semi-finals in the Champions League. How do you feel about that one, boys?
Hansi Flick's at Barcelona for a start.
Yep. That's official now, isn't it?
Yeah, and Nagelsmann. He's very young. That's all I will say. I think he's still only 37 years of age, which is young for a football manager. But he could have had a lot of experience by then with Germany, especially a big Euros coming up for him as Germany manager. But again, I'm not making any calls on managers until the day that he says I'm done, because I don't even want to think about it. That's my opinion anyway.
Nagelsmann's stocks will go through the roof if he pulls off a home soil win for Germany this summer.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with, I don't think it's their strongest squad necessarily that they've had in a long time. I feel like a lot, but obviously they have huge names in Florian Wirtz, Musiala, who can change the game on a sixpence. So be interesting to see who wins this Euros. I'm not normally fussed with it, but
It's about how they play as well, though, with Germany. I mean, they've got all these good players, but it's about the system. Can they all come together as one unit and not 11 individuals?
Well, that's the issue that every international manager has of a big country. Do you know what I mean? Can you get all your big names to work together? But look, I'm not arsed about the Euros. I'll be watching it as an impartial fan, enjoying the football.
Well, we get 11 players, but Southgate picks the wrong fucking ones. But that's another story for another time.
On the wing, watch it.
You should do some England content when you get your channel up and coming, Luke, for the summer.
I've got a few ideas. First stream is tomorrow, actually. 7
Is the channel up? Is the channel up that I can put a link in the chat to?
Yeah. If you do that, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Just slowly getting things together. Been waiting on a few people to come back to me and stuff like that. So there'll be a tweet, an Instagram going out tomorrow, just before we go live, and hopefully some of your viewers would like to join and be a part of it. So
definitely, man. Listen, chat, there's a link to Luke's brand new City channel in the chat right now. Go over there and subscribe. There's 200 of you here, and he's currently on 63 subscribers. Surely we can get him to 100. If 30 odd of you subscribe to his brand new channel. Look, when I first started off in the content space, I had a lot of great people who helped me out a lot. They were very good to me. I had your Big Steves, I had your City Extras and all that. So it's important that we look after each other. Luke's starting his journey. Go to the channel, click the link. I'll put it in the chat again now, and get him to 100. City Luke TV. Get him to 100 subscribers before his first stream tomorrow, and support him on his journey, man. Top Blue, great guy.
Thank you.
That's it, man. Fan of the Invisible Man just subbed. Everybody should be subbing, man. Support a fellow Blue. Goes to the games. What kind of content are you going to do as well? Just streams, vlogs, videos?
All sorts, really. Won't be doing any OnlyFans. That's what I know for sure. I'll tell you that now. But just kind of winging it as I go. So obviously match previews, reviews, watch alongs if I'm not at the games, which is very rare, to be honest, these days. Kind of through the Euros, I've got a few ideas. Things are a bit more fun, which I think I've spoke to both of you about being a part of. Just throughout, just kind of some little throwback things here and there, maybe. Just throughout my time as a City fan, speak about those. And if anyone has any suggestions of what they want to see, I'm all ears as well. That's the most important thing, doing content that people want to actually watch, rather than this clickbaity shite that when I've been doing my research, a lot of people seem to be doing. So there's a little shout at some of the people that I've been watching, but not necessarily, well, no Blues actually, but yeah, there's been some questionable content out there, I will say that.
It'll be a fun journey though, lad.
I am excited, man. It's something for me to put my energy into, rather than what I used to do, getting absolutely smashed at games and not remembering. So, but what I will say is there will be no cameras out at any games, thankfully. I'll keep that to myself and not be like certain people who like to call out people at this club. But
don't start Briggsy, man. Don't start Briggsy off.
The amount of times he's been in my DMs about it, like, oh, fucking hell, like, not fair. I won't shout people out, but
what happens in DMs stays in DMs, all right?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I will not recall them, but I'll just say, like, yeah, there's been a few choice words, but I think them choice words have been mutually agreed, so we can do it at that.
All right, you lot keep your problems in the DM. Listen, lads, chat. He's on 76 there. Come on, let's get him to 100, man. Subscribe to City Luke TV. We're gonna wrap it up here anyway. Briggsy, they'll find you here. You'll be coming on here again. So will Luke as well. But Briggsy, I don't think you're gonna do a channel. You're just gonna come on here whenever you can.
Yep, I'm happy to come on this week, and if you want to discuss the United game in proper depth, then I'm all for that. Even if you want to talk about the big UCL match, let's do it.
Yep, we can arrange it. We'll get Luke back on. We'll get Briggsy back on in the very near future, people. Like I said, make sure you subscribe to Luke TV. Get him to 100 before his first stream tomorrow. That would be absolutely fantastic. And look, with the Pep stuff, people, just be prepared for whatever, okay? Be prepared for whatever. If it's bad news, you know, you got to be grateful for what we've had. And if it's good news, we'll all be popping bottles of champagne. Back tomorrow with some brand new content, people. Enjoy the rest of your evenings. In a bit.
Goodbye.
Wow.